a $6 million hypercar, destroyed, abandoned at a salvage auction, written off, totaled, finished. At least that's what everyone thought, because while most people would walk away from a wreck like this, someone actually bought it back. And the moment they tried to repair it, the company that built the car stepped in and said, no parts, no support, no access, nothing. The car was blocked from every Bugatti dealer on the planet. And the craziest part, the guy rebuilding it refused to back down. His name is Matt Armstrong, a British YouTuber, a mechanic, a former BMX rider, and someone who absolutely does not accept the words, "It can't be done." What started as a YouTube rebuild project eventually exploded into one of the biggest right-to-repair controversies in the automotive world. And somehow, it even reached Donald Trump. This story is insane. Matt Armstrong didn't come from money. He didn't grow up surrounded by luxury cars or millionaire connections. He grew up in Leicester, England, helping in his dad's garage. While other kids were playing video games, Matt was already taking cars apart, learning how machines worked piece by piece. That obsession stayed with him for years, but cars weren't originally his career plan. His first dream was BMX. Matt became a professional rider, traveling across Europe, competing, living the lifestyle he'd always wanted. But eventually reality hit. BMX didn't pay enough to build a stable future, so he went back to what he knew best, working on cars. Then one accident changed everything. His girlfriend's Audi got totaled. Most people would have sent it to a scrapyard or taken the insurance payout. Matt did something different. He bought the wreck back himself. Instead of sending it to a shop, he rebuilt the entire car from scratch and filmed the whole process for YouTube. Every mistake, every repair, every late night in the garage. And people loved it. The video exploded. One rebuild became another, then another. And before long, Matt Armstrong had built one of the biggest automotive channels in the world. Millions of subscribers, hundreds of millions of views. Bentleys, Lamborghinis, McLarens, Rolls-Royces, Ferraris. If it was wrecked, flooded, crashed, or abandoned, Matt would try to bring it back to life. But absolutely nothing prepared him for what came next. October 2025, Miami, Florida. A man named Alex Gonzalez owned one of the rarest Bugattis on earth, a Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport. Not just expensive, not just fast, exclusive. Only 60 of them were ever made. Depending on the spec, the car was worth somewhere between $4 and $6 million. And then Alex crashed it. Hard. The front end was destroyed, carbon fiber shattered, airbags exploded throughout the cabin, suspension damaged, cooling systems crushed. The insurance company looked at the repair estimate and immediately declared the car a total loss. Bugatti's quote for repairs reportedly reached around $1.7 million, and that was mostly just parts. At that point, almost everyone would walk away. But Alex didn't. Instead, he bought the wreck back from the insurance company for roughly $1.9 million and made a single phone call. Matt Armstrong. Matt flew to Miami, inspected the car in person, looked over the damage, and somehow decided this insane project was possible. That's when the real battle started. The moment Bugatti learned the car was being rebuilt outside their official network, everything changed. They blocked the VIN. For non-car people, the VIN is basically the car's identity number. Once Bugatti flagged it internally, dealers across the world could no longer supply parts for that specific car. Not even tiny hardware pieces, nothing. And suddenly this stopped being a normal rebuild, because now it was personal. Matt looked directly into the camera and said, "Bugatti says it's unsafe for us to rebuild this car, but I've got no choice now except to do it my own way." That sentence changed everything. The internet exploded. Millions of people suddenly became invested in the fight between a YouTube mechanic and one of the most exclusive automotive companies on earth. And then the CEO himself got involved. Mate Rimac, the man running Bugatti Rimac, publicly addressed the controversy on Instagram. According to Rimac, many of the prices circulating online were inaccurate or exaggerated. He also warned people not to assume critical Bugatti components could simply be recreated with 3D printing or aftermarket fabrication. He claimed the gearbox had serious damage, the structure might have hidden problems, and he made one statement that shocked everyone watching. Only 2 places in the entire world were capable of opening and repairing a Bugatti Chiron transmission. 2 places on Earth. Rimac also extended an invitation for Matt to bring the car directly to Bugatti's factory in France. But Matt declined. Later he explained that he actually respected Matt Rimac. He admired him as an engineer and entrepreneur. Maybe the CEO wanted to cooperate, but the legal department's liability concerns and corporate executives shut it down. Whether that's true or not, one thing became clear. Bugatti was not going to help. So Matt Armstrong did what made him famous in the first place. Yet piece by piece, Matt's team started engineering solutions on their own. The destroyed engine mount was scanned in 3D, recreated digitally in CAD software, and machined completely from scratch. Radiators had to be redesigned and rebuilt. Cooling systems adapted manually. Airbag systems were modified using components sourced from other vehicles, including parts from an Audi A3. At one point, they repaired a coolant pipe using a brake hose because genuine Bugatti replacements were unavailable. Then came one of the most controversial repairs of all, the gearbox mount. This component was intentionally designed by Bugatti to fail during a crash in order to protect the drivetrain and chassis structure. Officially replacing it would cost an enormous amount of money. Matt's team TIG welded it back together instead, a repair many engineers online insisted should never work, but somehow it did. And then came the biggest challenge of the entire project, the transmission. Remember, according to Rimac, only 2 facilities in the world could properly access a Chiron gearbox. Matt's team opened it themselves in a private workshop using conventional tools. No Bugatti factory, no special corporate authorization, no $1 million official support program, just mechanics refusing to quit. And eventually even Rimac admitted he'd been following the rebuild videos, because the impossible project was actually working. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for, after months of fabrication, repairs and controversy. The Bugatti fired up, the engine started. The car the insurance industry had buried was alive again. For most people, that would have been the ending. But Matt Armstrong somehow wasn't done causing problems for manufacturers, because while all this was happening, Ferrari entered the fight too. At the same time as the Bugatti rebuild, Matt was also working on a crashed Ferrari 296 GTB, and suddenly the Ferrari wouldn't start. Error messages covered the screen. Hybrid system failure. Visit dealer. Matt tried diagnosing the issue himself, tried resets, repairs, workarounds. Nothing solved it. Then he attempted to order genuine Ferrari racing components because he wanted to transform the car into a dedicated track build. According to Matt, Ferrari representatives explained they needed to verify components were going to the correct vehicle. To be fair, Bugatti's argument does make sense in some ways. These cars are capable of speeds above 250 miles per hour. A dangerous repair on a hypercar could absolutely kill someone. No company wants headlines about catastrophic failures involving improperly repaired vehicles. But Matt's side also raises an important point. They simply wanted the ability to buy parts with their own money for a vehicle they legally owned. So where exactly is the line? And this is where things get really interesting, because while the internet argued over the rebuild, lawmakers were already moving in the same direction. In July 2026, the European Union's Right to Repair Directive officially comes into effect. The law is designed to force manufacturers to provide reasonable repair access, support and parts availability. That means practices like permanently blocking vehicles through VIN restrictions may become far more difficult in Europe moving forward. And since Bugatti is based in France, many people believe situations like this could eventually become impossible under the new regulations, which means Matt Armstrong's Rebuild series may have done more than entertain millions of viewers. It may have helped influence a broader conversation around consumer rights and repair laws. Then came the moment nobody expected. Donald Trump mentioned Matt Armstrong. Yes, really. During discussions surrounding automotive deregulation and consumer repair rights, the President of the United States referenced the growing right to repair debate and the attention surrounding cases like Armstrong's Bugatti rebuild. And honestly, it makes sense why this story crossed into politics, because this issue is bigger than hypercars. More and more companies are creating ecosystems where consumers technically buy products, but manufacturers still control repairs, software access, and replacement parts. Today, Bugatti and Ferrari find themselves facing growing pressure from lawmakers, repair advocates, and consumers demanding greater control over products they purchase. And Matt Armstrong, he's still in his garage. The same kind of garage where this whole journey started years ago in Leicester, England. Only now millions of people are watching. He took a totaled Bugatti that most experts considered finished forever and brought it back to life. He stood toe-to-toe with one of the most exclusive automotive companies on earth. He pushed one of the biggest right-to-repair conversations the car industry has seen in years. And somehow, he got the attention of the President of the United States along the way. Even now, Bugatti still reportedly refuses to supply certain parts for the car. But Matt Armstrong rebuilt them anyway.